Ruben, you looked frustrated during many moments in the match. What frustrated you the most about the performance?
No, it was. I think we can do better, but we are putting the effort. So that is the most important thing for me. I think in some moments we did well, especially in the beginning of the game, and I felt that after the goal, we were thinking about the result, just the result, and this team needs to win games, so we need to focus on the performance, what we need to do. Because if we think about the results, we forget to do the normal things. So that was my feeling. We were okay until the goal. We scored a goal, and we should do the opposite. So have more possessions, push more the opponent, and I think we were not smart in that moment.
Do you think then the main challenge is to keep that urgency, that mentality of not only the result, but also how do you push that into the players?
No, it's just we have to think in this moment. We need to think about the performance. Of course, I'm not crazy. I know what is the feeling of a player that plays in the team that has to win every match, but I felt that in the past. I don't feel lack of urgency in this moment. What I felt is that we missed the penalty, we missed some chances, and then we score, and I have the feeling that the team was, now we have to defend this goal, and that is not lack of urgency, it's maybe urgency in the opposite side. So we just need to focus on our movements, the way we have to play the game until the end.
Yeah, defensively, why do you think Fulham kept getting into good positions, and with corners as well, they were always looking dangerous?
Yeah, it's normal. I think we tried to press high, and was after 1-2 times we need to understand that sometimes we need to manage the game, to wait for the opponent. Was that the option of Fulham? And sometimes we push the ball to the side too soon. It was quite easy for the opponent to mark us, and we wanted to press all the time. We want to do that, but sometimes we have to be better in that moment, understand the game, try to drop a little bit, and then start the pressure. So they had more space than us when they were attacking.
Bruno's penalty, we saw that the referee kind of bumped into him, and he looked upset and disrupted by it. Did he mention anything to you about that? Do you think it was enough to disrupt him in the way that he took the penalty?
No, I think he's not used to miss a penalty. He knows the importance that every moment in this context can have a huge impact in the team, and I felt that he during the game he was like not so happy, not so involved, because he has so much responsibility, and I think he felt that miss the penalty was a huge for us.
You mentioned the result. Do you think this is something that the team is bringing from last season? This need to get results, and you guys need to deal with it better mentally?
That is normal. We just want to win games, and they are humans. They know the context. They read everything, and they know they play in one club that they need to be better. But for me, during the week is completely different. They work really hard. Today they work really hard. Sometimes not in the good way, but they work. So with that I can work, and with that I'm really confident that we are going to get many wins.
Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you.
Kind of bumps into you. I don't know if that affected your concentration at all, because you seemed pretty upset about it.
Yeah, I was upset. Obviously, as every penalty taker, you have your own routines, you have your own things that you do. It upset me because the referee didn't apologize, and that was what which triggered me in the moment. But that's not the excuse to missing the penalty. I just had a bad very bad hit on the ball. I took my foot too under the ball, and that's why the ball ended up going.
And we're joined by Calvin Bassey. Calvin, thank you very much for coming out to chat to us. Always a bit nicer when you manage to earn a draw from a losing position.
Yeah, 100%. I think, especially second half, we pushed. Could have deserved more. I mean, we had some good moments, with a better final pass or better finishing. It could have been maybe, 2-1, but we did well to get back into game, and of course, they've missed a penalty as well, so, yeah.
Talking of the penalty, because you were right at the centre of a lot of the decisions that were made today. Let's start with the penalty one, because if we don't, you'll just be waiting for us to do it. Now, you think this might be a little harsh, but have you seen it yet?
Yeah, I still think it's harsh. I understand why it's given. I think, you know, it's where my foot is. I'm trying to stay strong because I know the block's coming, and then I've just sort of pulled him over my foot. I think if my foot isn't there, but I mean, refs got to protect us as well. I think I'm strong, you know, so it looks a bit more aggressive. If it's someone stronger, I don't think it looks as bad. But yeah, I mean, you've seen it given, you've seen it not. It's just one of them ones.
Ashley, what did you think? As Calvin's friend.
As his friend, definitely shouldn't have been a penalty. If I take my friend head off, then, you know, I'm not too sure. I think that it could go either way. We said it in the studio that, you know, at times referees will see it and give it. At times referees will not give it. You know, I think watching it in slow-mo like that, it looks worse.
Everything looks worse slow-mo, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it
Everything looks worse.
Well, Ashley, we've actually got your half-time analysis. No, we haven't.
It was a good one, don't
Yeah,
worry.
but look, from your point of view, Lewis, you know, they give away the penalty. There was also the incident behind with Luke Shaw, but obviously VAR can't go and look at that because it's not a penalty incident. There was a lot going on in that box, and that's something that referees have been asked to look at, especially this season.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, when you're now playing with this new technology, you have to be aware that your hands, your whatever, your body, your position of your foot will have a situation to be looked at. So there is like definitely moments where you have to actually make sure that you're on the good side. It happens, as you said, sometimes it's go for you, sometimes it's not. So on those situations, you always think that whatever like you are using your hands, you're trying to avoid like too much contact or for too long, and that's what happened. So unfortunately.
Yeah, what's the briefing been on what those decisions are going to be?
I mean, it's hard, you know. Sometimes when you feel the contact early, you go down and the ref can give you a foul. I mean, sometimes when you're in the game and the ball's there to be won, you're trying to get to the ball as quick as possible, and sometimes you've got to get the man out of the way. And I think there's a fine line between, you know, giving a foul away and getting away with it. And yeah, maybe there a bit more contact. On another day, maybe ref doesn't look at it, or I don't know. It's just one of them ones. We just, as players, have to try to be clever. And I tried to communicate with the ref because I knew the block was coming. So I told him, you know, every corner, watch the blocks. And yeah, I mean,
that's what happened when you're maybe like wrestling for a player who's weaker than you. Obviously, that's what happened. If it was a stronger centre forward, you can challenge. You know,
I think it's someone similar to my size. I think, as I said before, it probably doesn't look as bad. Slow-mo, it's always going to look worse.
Yeah.
Always going to look worse. So, you know, I mean, it's something to learn for me and all the boys, and yeah, just be a bit more streetwise and smarter with it.
So a bit of relief then when the penalty was missed by Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, I think, you know, I say it's justice. And God had my back. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was a pen, and then he's missed it. So, I mean, yeah, it's sort of a let off. You see me put my fist up in the air with... It's a bit of relief, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Gary Neville pointed out in commentary that the ref kind of knocks Bruno Fernandes in the build up to the penalty, not obviously in his run up, but in the sort of time just before. Is that really something that can put a player off?
I think that, you know, at the time, obviously, a penalty takers have got a routine that they like to go through. And when you're practicing it in training, you're not going to have a referee that's in the way that steps into it or bumps you out of the way. And you know, I think Lou will know, as you know, he's taken many penalties, that once you've got your routine and you go through that routine, you know, you don't need anyone putting you off. You know, you could say the referee's not really done a lot, he's only just touched him, but when you've got a routine and you go through it and it's the way you take the penalties, then maybe it can put you off. And, you know, I think, to be honest, as soon as he's been touched by the referee, he's got anger inside him, and then I see the penalty going over like it did, you know, you can tell that it's a problem.
This is the type of reaction we have seen over the years. We complain about this overreaction, he's throwing his hands and all that. So those reactions where everyone is going to judge every movement, I think he put himself in a position. And when you miss, you obviously come back, do punditry and say, oh, this is obviously something that has had an effect on him. So that's something that you need to work on.
Calvin, as
Manchester United skipper Bruno Fernandes had the chance to put Ruben Amorim's side in the lead during the first half of their Premier League clash with Fulham, but the Portuguese skied his effort over the bar. Gary Neville offered an explanation for the skipper's gaffe, and he's been slammed for it online. Once again, following their 1-0 loss to Arsenal on the opening weekend, the Red Devils were bright in patches against Marco Silva's side but were ultimately let down by their exploits in the final third, as evidenced by Fernandes' miss from 12 yards out. It's uncharacteristic for the central midfielder, who is widely regarded as one of the best penalty takers in world football, to produce such a terrible effort from the spot, and Neville believes he has figured out what unnerved him pre-penalty. Amorim's men were given the perfect chance to earn a lead heading into the break. Fulham defender Calvin Bassey wrestled United's Mason Mount to the ground, and referee Chris Kavanagh initially waved off any protests from the visiting side. However, a closer look at the in-the-box incident on the pitch side monitor and the penalty was given. Fernandes stepped up, but his effort, to the delight of the home contingent, was uncharacteristically blazed over the bar. On commentary duty for Sky Sports alongside Peter Drury, Neville, who played 600 times for the Old Trafford outfit, insisted that the fact that Kavanagh bumped into United's skipper before he took his penalty, which meant he had to readjust his pre-penalty approach, caused him to sky his effort over the upright. He picked the ball up. It was the referee maybe. He's given him a little bit of a bump by accident, Neville said, before adding that Fernandes looked unnerved as he readjusting himself for the penalty. He goes back and it just unnerved him a little bit.